Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday and welcome to Wealthy Wednesday. I actually really like talking money. It's something that I never used to because I had very much, I was in that lack sort of mentality. And look, money's not it's not meant to be dinner table conversation. We were taught never to talk about money and all of that sort of stuff. But I want to change that mostly because, and especially for women who are getting on in life like me. I'm 52 now, and not in the position that they want to be in. And because at the end of the day, money is just the currency of the times. We need money. We can't pay our bills with hugs and love and kisses. So we need money. And then that's all it is. It's just the currency of the day. And I really want to change the relationship that a lot of women have, especially with money, because we can sometimes get into that whole um, not feeling like we're not worthy of it. And also, part of it is because we were never actually taught properly about money. We never taught it. We were never taught it properly at school unless you did some sort of business class. So today, what I want to be talking about mostly is demystifying the crypto world. All right, because it can be quite overwhelming and it can be quite confusing. And I know that there is a bit of fear attached to it. Whether you've lost money or you're getting poor advice or you're getting involved with someone who was probably a little bit dodgy, there is that fear, which is very valid fear. But I want to address all of that because crypto is here to stay. Okay. Now, I'm going to be talking specifically about Bitcoin today. Bitcoin has been all over the news. You would have seen that it broke through that 100,000 mark last week. It's gone down a bit today. But that's the market. All right. And I want to talk a little bit about that as well because it's not something to fear. And Bitcoin, whatever you think about it, it is the granddaddy of crypto. All right. It is the most safest coin there is. It's not going anywhere. And whilst there is risk, okay, there is risk. Let's not pretend there's not because nothing is guaranteed. There also is the potential to make money and get ahead. All right. Now, whether you choose to dive in or stay on the sidelines is entirely up to you, but I want you to make your decisions based on facts and not fear. Okay. So let's address that first. Let's address the fear first. All right. And that is the fear of losing money. And like I said before, that is a very valid fear. Nobody wants to lose money when they go into something. You lose money in the crypto space when you are chasing trends. Okay, so you don't fully understand it. You're just buying it because everyone else is buying it, and often you're buying it at prices that are too high. You're buying it at the wrong time, and if you're not fully understanding that, and you're just sort of trying to jump on the bandwagon, it's more than likely it's not going to work out. Okay, so that's one way you lose money. The other way is through scams, through trusting the wrong people or the wrong projects without doing any research. Okay. So you wouldn't buy a car without being roadworthy. You wouldn't buy a house without getting a building and pest inspection. Okay. So you've got to do your research around this. And there's lots of ways that people unfortunately are taking advantage of other people, whether it's, clearing out all their savings because there's some Nigerian prince, or whether it's a dating app and they're catfishing them, or, we all get those phone calls, we get the text messages, we get the emails saying, you're click here because your parcel can't be delivered or you're going to be fined something. So we don't blindly just click on those. We actually look into it and go, "Oh, hang on a minute, do I even have an account with that one? Have I even been on a toll?" We take a little bit more of an active role in it. Okay, we don't blindly dive in. And so this is what I want you guys to understand with crypto as well, that you don't just dive in blindly. Like Halia, nice to see you online, darling. And I know you love this subject because you are fantastic in this whole understanding the crypto space and the value in it and diversification as well. All right, so that's the other way that you lose money is through scams, okay? So don't just blindly follow stuff and don't just blindly get into crypto either. You got to do some research, you got to do some education. And then the third way that people will lose money in crypto is because they don't understand that the market is volatile. It will go up and down. All right. So if you're trying to get in quick and do and just pull some money out really quickly and not understanding what's actually happening with the market, that's where you can lose money because, if you buy it and you see it drop suddenly and you panic, that's the worst thing you can do is panic and then sell because, of course, you're going to lose money. All right. This is not a get rich quick scheme. There are absolutely ways that you can make fast money, but don't come into this thinking that. All right. Think of it more as a little bit of a long term project. Okay. So just like if you were learning to drive, you wouldn't just jump into a car and speed off. You'd learn the rules, you'd practice, you'd make sure that you knew what you were doing before you hit the road. Okay. So treat crypto in the same sort of way. All right. So, yeah, this space is amazing. It really is, Kalia. It really is an amazing space. And you've got to take responsibility for your own education and your actions. And that's not just in crypto, that's with life. All right. So start small. You only ever want to put in what you can afford to lose. Okay. You don't want to be risking so much that you can't sleep. So start small. It's okay to start small. Starting small is good because you can build on that. So only ever put in what you can afford to lose. And as soon as you're able to withdraw what you have initially put in, you take that money out again. All right. So then your risk is neutralized. You don't have any risk because you're not losing any of your money if anything goes pear-shaped. It's all cream. And if it goes up, fantastic. If it goes down, that's okay as well because you've taken out that initial money that you've put in. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. Do your homework. You want to understand the basics of whatever project you're getting involved in, whatever it's a coin or whatever it is. Do your homework and understand the basics of it. Diversify. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't just go buying all one coin. There's 23,000 plus coins out there. And there's shares and there's property. There's all sorts of things that you can make money through. So make sure that you do diversify. All right. And choose reputable platforms. So stick to the well-known exchanges and wallets. And with that, you have to know how to use them. If you send something in the crypto space and it's the wrong address, too bad. You've lost that money. Okay. It's gone. So you need to know how to use it. And don't worry, that's why you get involved with people who are actually going to help you along the way and teach you the things that you need to know and hold your hand until you're able to walk yourself. Okay. Because another thing that I just want to mention about getting into the whole decentralized space, and I'll talk a bit about that in a minute, is that you are the one who owns the keys, especially in a decentralized wallet. Now, if you lose those keys, then it's gone as well. So there's little things that you need to understand, all right, so that you don't get burnt, so that you don't lose money, so that you can create something that is going to grow. All right. So let's start with a little bit of education around the crypto world. Now, if you are new to this, it might sound very confusing and overwhelming. That's okay because I don't expect you to get this all at once. If the only thing that happens at the end of this live is that you go, this is interesting, I'd like to learn more, instead of shutting down and in fear and, sort of closing your eyes. If if I can get you to at least have a different perspective around this, then I'm gonna take that as a win. All right? Okay, so do you guys remember when the internet first came about? All right, it was scary. I remember it was back in the 90s, and I was working in hotels, and I was doing event coordination. Okay. And this one particular client, he would come back every year, and he was an older guy, right? And he would show me this. Look at this one, the internet. And back then you had to put in words and then the little plus sign and then all these words and string them along. And he was so excited about this thing. And I looked at it and I thought, yeah, all right, I don't get it. But it was one of those things that, we thought, "Oh, why would we go and do that when, why would I do a search online when I can just go and find the information at a library or get out my Encyclopedia Britannica," sort of thing. But if we it was just because it was new and we didn't quite understand it. A lot of people jumped on and they really did well. Others, they took a little bit of time to catch up, and that's okay. But if you look at today, where we are today, the internet has changed the way we communicate, the way we do business. I'm live, on here to anyone in the world can see me. It's changed the way that we shop. It's changed the way that we share information. We don't even have to leave our house if we don't want to. We can get our groceries delivered, food delivered, alcohol. We've got movies that we stream straight to our computer. If we don't know something, we can jump on the internet and find out the answer. Or if we're really lazy, we'll just yell out, "Hey, Google." It's just bananas how much the internet has changed the way we are today. Now, the people who did embrace that, they thrived. Those that didn't, they got left behind and they had to play a little bit of catch up. All right. So think of crypto in the same way. It's here to stay, whether you like it or not. And, we often fear what we don't understand. And the best way to reduce fear around anything is to educate yourself, ask questions, and to start small. All right. So I want you guys to be part of the future and not feel like you're getting left behind. Okay. Hmm. So let me do a little bit of, I just want to share a little bit of basics around the whole cryptocurrency and how that network works so that you've got a little bit of an understanding of that. And then I'm going to talk more about how you can, one way, because there's a couple of ways that I do it, but I'm going to show you one way that you can get in and start to see how this cryptocurrency world works. Okay. All right. So think of cryptocurrency as it's just digital money. Okay. So just like we send emails instead of letters, you guys understand digital money. We do it every day with when we tap anything with our cards. Okay. But this is more than just money. All right. This is about giving you back control. So the crypto network is not tied to any one country. It's not tied to any one government, and it is not tied to any one bank. So that makes it more resilient, that, especially when we're in times of economic turmoil. All right, it's a way to protect you when the traditional system fails, and we all remember what happened in 2008 and the GFC. Millions of everyday people, they lost their savings, they lost their jobs, they lost their homes because the system failed. Okay. So the crypto decentralized network, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, is a way to put the control back into the hands of everyday people. Now, within the cryptocurrency space, there are more than 23,000 coins and tokens. Bitcoin is just the most well-known one of them. Okay. It's like I said before, it's like the granddaddy. And everything happens on something called the blockchain. So the blockchain is just like if you imagine a digital ledger, so a giant digital book that records every transaction that happens onto a block, right? So transaction happened, it records it on the block. When that block is full, it'll start a new block and it'll link them together, forming a chain. Okay, that's where the word blockchain came from. Now, what's important to know is that each block, all right, is only linked to the previous block. That one's linked to that one, that one's linked to that one, that one's got nothing to do with that one. So this makes it extremely hard to manipulate or shut down. It's like if you had a 1,000-piece puzzle and there was one piece in 1,000 different boxes with 1,000 different other pieces. All right. It is really, really sturdy. It is virtually unhackable. Okay. So that is what's known as a decentralized system. Now, what we have now is a centralized system. So the banks are the middlemen. All right. Whenever we tap or do anything or transfer money or whatever we do, whatever we're buying and exchanging cash, the banks are the middleman and they will verify that, yes, this person has this money in their account and then it can go to that person over there. And then they charge you a fee for that. Okay. So in that centralized system, though, they have all the control. There's one gatekeeper who decides all the rules. They decide the fees and they hold your money. Okay. Centralized systems are also very vulnerable to hacking. We've seen that before, where banks have been hacked, and not just banks. It's any any corporation that has controlled by one entity. That's a centralized system. We've seen where health funds, phone companies, their databases have been hacked. They're also vulnerable to corruption and being shut down. So a few months ago, you guys probably remember that there was a weekend, and it was some businesses it affected for 1 day, some it affected for 2, where all their systems shut down. People couldn't buy anything. People couldn't access their money. And it was because there was a company in the US who did an upgrade on their system. Their system was shut down for an hour, but it had this big ripple effect across the other side of the world where we couldn't access our money. Okay. So decentralization flips that all on its head. So instead of relying on this one middleman to verify and approve transactions, so the network, so that blockchain, which is the network, think of it like a global community, it does all of that. Okay, so we essentially hold all the keys. Kathy, hi, darling. Fascinating. What are you saying here? Fascinating subject. I will look at it before the year ends. Absolutely, sweetheart. You know where I am, and I am happy to show anyone and teach anyone more about this because it really is taking your financial future back into your control. Okay. So in that decentralized system, there's no single person, there's no bank, there's no corporation, there's no, 5 families that control everything, and especially your money. It is peer to peer, it is transparent. So the blockchain keeps everything open and honest. Every transaction is validated and recorded on blockchain. Anyone can see the transaction, not your personal details. They can see the transaction. There's things called proof of work and proof of stake within the blockchain. But what's important is that you cannot change the stuff that is on the blockchain. So there's no corruption either. Okay. So why is this important to everyday people like you and me? With the traditional banks, your money's in their hands. They can freeze accounts, they can charge you fees, they take a cut from everything. They can limit your access to your money. All right. They can put holds on things, and then it's up to them to lift that hold before you can access your money. Okay. Sometimes it's great that they do that, especially if there's something a little bit dodgy going on. But I had a friend who, she got contacted and she said, "No, it's all fine. That was me. I did make that transaction." But it still took a few days for her to be able to get that freeze lifted. Okay. It's rare. However, it happens. Okay. Now, the other thing that's important to note is that our money, it doesn't hold the same value it once did. So if you happen to have any savings in the bank, your money is losing value faster than it grows because of inflation and because of the cost of living. And even if you put, $2,000 in a term deposit, all right, you lock it away for a year, Banks say, we will give you 5%. And we go, oh, gee, thanks. That's so awesome. But 5% of $2,000 is $100 for a year. That's not awesome. That is not awesome. So how do you get ahead? All right. So cryptocurrency and like Bitcoin, especially, they have a limited supply, which means its value isn't eroded by inflation. So because the banks, they go, oh, we've got all this debt and we'll just print more money. And so the value goes down. But with Bitcoin, there's 21 million Bitcoin and that is going to be it. Okay, once it's mined. So what that means is that it's going to keep its value. All right. It's like if you had one of those rare baseball cards, okay, and there were only 100 of them in existence. Their value is going to remain high because of scarcity. But if somebody then started producing counterfeits and duplicates of it, the value is going to drop. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. All right. What time is it? I got to get a giddy up. So, crypto just gives you options, whether you want to save it, spend it, invest it. You can do all of it without needing permission from a bank or paying hefty fees. There are fees on the blockchain, but they're tiny. Okay, when you're changing from between different coins, or if you're changing, the fiat currency, so dollars into coins. There are small fees involved in that, but it's not like what banks are. Okay. Now, I know that's a lot of information, and you may want to just get your head around it a little bit more. You might want to just watch this again. But what I want you guys to really understand that crypto isn't just for techies or billionaires or people who are, right into finance and money, okay? It's designed to be accessible to everyone. So whether you are a single mum and you're saving for your kids, or you're a retiree and you want to make sure that you're going to have enough money left at the end, so that you can live the way that you want to live. For me, that's part of what we want to do. We want to travel, but we also want to be able to help our kids, because I don't want them living with us forever. I love my kids, but how are they going to be able to afford a house? So whatever your reason is, it doesn't matter, because this is a way that you can take that control back, that you are able to get ahead. Okay. And you do not need to be rich to participate. You just need to be curious, and you need to be open to learning, and you need to take the time to educate yourself. All right. Okay. So I've got 7 minutes left. So I'm going to show you what one way that I am using Bitcoin. So let me just take off this little branding thing, and I'm going to share my screen with you. So this here, before I do that, in the Bitcoin world, the way that Bitcoin is produced is through something called mining. So they have these computers and they have to solve these very complex algorithms. And when they are solved, you are awarded Bitcoin. Okay. So it's quite an involved process to do that. So some very clever people, and this one gentleman in particular, he was instrumental in setting up the Ethereum network and the Ethereum coin, and which is one of the biggest blockchains in that crypto space as well. So he's looked at this and gone, how can we make this better? How can we increase the mining of these Bitcoin? And so what he did is he has developed this little device called Bit Booster. Okay, so that's what it is. It's tiny. It's this little tiny thing. And anyway, so what this Bit Booster does is they've partnered with the mining farms for Bitcoin, and this booster increases the production, the daily production, anywhere between 100 and 300%. So obviously the people mining the Bitcoin have gone, woohoo, that's awesome, because it increases their productivity, which increases what they make. So they've come up with a way to then anyone can buy one of these bit boosters. Okay. You can start with They're $1,000 if you want to get a full one, but you can also buy a share of a bit booster. So this is what I'm saying. You can get into the crypto space, and especially into Bitcoin, with a very low risk and um, low amount of money to put in. So you can get a share of it. It's divided into tenths, so you can buy $100, get one share. Two shares is $200, three, four, five, up to nine. Okay. So what that means though for you guys is, let me share. I'm going to turn that one off and let me put this screen on here. So can you see that? Okay. Okay. So what that means is that each day when they mine Bitcoin, it varies. The amount of Bitcoin that you mine each day varies. So, and it can fluctuate. So you can see here, there's a low range and a high range, all right, of Bitcoin. It's a small amount, and that's okay, because this is about accumulating Bitcoin over time, all right, without having to keep putting your hand in your pocket. So if you were to buy Bitcoin if you were to buy 100, a share of a Bitcoin. Hang on, let me go again. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. So if you were to buy Bitcoin and you spent $100, you would get 0.001 of a Bitcoin. And that's if Bitcoin was at $100,000 per coin. Okay. So you would have 0.001 of a Bitcoin, and you would just hold that. And as the Bitcoin price increases, that value increases. Okay. But the quantity that you have is 0.001. If you were to buy a shared bit booster, each day, because your bit booster is helping the production of the mining, you are going to be awarded anywhere between 0.000005 and 0.000015 of a Bitcoin. Okay. And you can see that up to 1 year, you would earn, or you would have accumulated 0.0018 to 0.0055 of a Bitcoin, anywhere in between that range. Okay. So this is just take an average. Whereas buying it traditionally, you've got 0.0010. Does that make sense? So accumulating it through this bit booster, where you've only just put in $100, you will have at the end of the year more Bitcoin than if you just bought it off the exchange. And then after 2 years, because it's accumulating, this is the range that we're looking at. And after 3 years, this is the range, right? Is this making sense? I hope so. Just you're very welcome to put comments and ask questions even after this live is finished, because I've only got a couple of minutes. And then if you buy a full bit booster, so that's $1,000. So then we've got the same comparison over here. If you spent on the exchange and you just went $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, thanks very much, you would have 0.01 of a Bitcoin. And until you then put your hand in your pocket and buy more Bitcoin, you are only ever going to have 0.01 of a Bitcoin. However, if you put that 1,000 you invest US dollars and buy a bit booster, after 1 year, you're going to have anywhere between this amount of Bitcoin. After 2 years, you'll have somewhere between this amount of Bitcoin, and you can see how it is already more. That first year, it's already more than your initial than if you went through the traditional way. All right. So this is just, I know that's gone very quickly. This half an hour has gone very quickly. I hope that is starting to get you to think, well, this is a little bit interesting. Okay. Because that's all I want from today. I want you to just think, this looks a little bit interesting. Whilst I still don't fully understand it, I'm willing to learn about it and learn more. And look, this is just one way to do it. And if you like what you've seen here and you'd like to know more about these bit boosters, I'm going to put a link under this video where you can book in. It's my calendar link. You can book in a time and we can have a little bit more of a chat. Okay. And I can explain whatever it is you want explained, and I can show you more in more detail how these work. Because just really super quickly, if I can show you actually my bit booster. very, very quickly. So I've had this for just a few days now, and I'm very conscious of the time I've got to finish. But this is what I've had this for a few days, and so that is what I've accumulated in Bitcoin so far. And then there's also you get overriding commissions and stuff because there is an element of uh, sharing and being rewarded for sharing as well. Okay. All right. So let me stop that now and I will come back to me. All right. So as I was saying, if you found this interesting and you want to learn more, I'm going to pop my calendar link below so you can click on that. It's an obligation free, up to an hour we can spend talking about, whatever you want to talk about in this space. Okay. You can pick my brain. You can just do whatever it is that you want there. Because all I want you guys to do is to take away that fear around cryptocurrency. Okay. It is not scary, but you do have to be cautious and you do have to know what you're doing and you do have to talk to people who know what they're talking about as well. Don't go asking, broke Uncle Eddie for advice when he doesn't know. You need to ask the people who know what they're talking about, but also people that you trust. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again. Bye bye.